and welcome to Watching Worst Films. I am one of your hosts, Jericho Reed, and with me I have your other host, Kyle Szymanski.
Hello, hello.
The name of the game is each week we watch one of the Golden Raspberry Award winners for Worst Film, and in the second half we cover the year as a whole with all of the other award winners and nominees. So for this year, we are covering 1991 and the Razzie Worst Picture of that year, Hudson Hawk. So, Kyle, what was your experience, your knowledge of Hudson Hawk going into this?
Not too much. I knew the poster. I don't know why I knew the poster. I don't think it was a regular VHS one.
Yeah.
It might have been. I don't know why, though. It's like the text. It's like giant font. I think it just says like Hudson Hawk and then a bunch of like taglines or reviews.
Interesting.
And swinging. I can see it in my head.
I've never seen that poster before.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know why. There's no reason. So the only thing I know about it is it follows Die Hard 2, I think, in the chronological life of Bruno, and it was a big disappointment. That's about it. I've assumed wrong. I assumed by the cover it was Die Hard 2.5. I didn't know anything else going into it really. So yeah, it was fresh. I just knew I assumed and it was a Bruno action vehicle. None, I was wrong. So yeah, what about you? What was your experience going in?
Well, I had no experience of Hudson Hawk, no knowledge of Hudson Hawk whatsoever. Unlike you, I'd never seen that poster before, ever, because it's quite striking and it's got some it's got like turquoise, which you don't often see on movie posters. So if you'd asked me to draw it from memory, I would have drawn you the Tears of the Sun poster, which is an orange-hued picture of Bruce Willis, looking a lot older. All I knew about Hudson Hawk was the hat. I'd have given you a Tears of the Sun poster, but he was wearing his pork pie hat.
I think of the poster because of, obviously, Cliffhanger. And, it's got the giant hang on tight, and then Cliffhanger, and then a tiny little swinging Sylvester Stallone or hanging Sylvester Stallone. So I think I might have just connected it to Cliffhanger, but it is very striking. Very nice poster.
So Hudson Hawk, I couldn't have even told you the genre. I couldn't have told you the genre. I couldn't have told you the decade. I think my mum might have liked it. My mum's a huge Bruno fan. So Bruno fixture in my household growing up. My mum really likes Die Hard movies, really likes him as an actor, and she also likes Lady Hawk. And so I think I combined the two, and I was like, Hudson Hawk must be some fantasy 80s synth thing that Bruno did.
No.
So when we start the film, and spoilers, it's like a period thing with Leonardo da Vinci and flying machines. I was like, okay, here we go. We're going to see Bruno in a wig building a contraption. Little did I know, this is much more totally a piece with the return of Bruno. It's smooth Bruno.
Well, I think that's the biggest thing. So we'll jump into it. I will say, I'm going to put a little disclaimer here. I think people should watch this film. So I recommend, if you don't want us to spoil it too much, to pause it and just pause here and then go watch it, kind of experience this unique experience.
Don't spoilers from here on out, so do not listen any further if you're even on the fence about watching Hudson Hawk. It gets the thumbs up.
It's got the double thumbs up. You cannot ask for more. I do think people should watch this. I'm not saying you're gonna like it. I don't think it's for everyone, but it's unique and you should probably go watch it. Yeah, definitely.
So to jump on in, we've given it the seal of approval, but of course this is notorious for one of the most hated Razzie winners, and on a budget of $65 million, would you care to hazard a guess as to how much it made at the box office?
So I assume it's sold, because I would have went to see it thinking it was Die Hard 2.5. I feel like the Bruno train is at the zenith at this point.
It's unstoppable.
Yeah. So I'm thinking this is more of a critical failure. 65. I don't think it's a smash hit though. I'm going to go with 100 million.
near enough.
Okay,
97.
oh, well, that's good. That's
So
very good. I'll take that.
it's still
No, getting it
when
right,
we
yeah.
include the like, you need to make
Yeah, yeah,
double in
yeah.
order to be making a profit. It's still made
Well, that's what
something
I'm
of a
saying, though.
loss. So it's
I'm more
still,
proud of getting it
yeah,
close to right because that's thinking like a
yeah,
Razzie. Yeah, like I think people seen it.
yeah.
I don't think it stayed. I don't know in like theaters for long. I think it had a short run because everyone panned it.
The Bruno train hasn't fallen
No,
off
no,
the
no, no.
trails, but this was like a bump. It's not,
Hmm.
yeah, it's not a runaway hit by any means, but it's not a complete blow up
Yes.
disaster. In order to start this film, we returned to our piratic.
Yes.
What is the adjective for piracy? We returned to piracy. This film was pirated once again. And we had an issue where we were watching it in Italian for the first couple minutes, which is fitting
It was.
because the movie begins with a little sort of storybook bookend setting you up in Renaissance Italy, the time of Leonardo da Vinci.
I mean, it took me longer to click as well. I think I told the story before about when I first seen The Godfather and I seen a version
Yeah.
without subtitles. So
Yeah.
I was just like, oh, they expect a lot from you, the audience. I like that. They expect fluent Italian knowledge. So, at first I was kind of like, okay, then maybe it's just a minor piece, but it was about a minute into it. I was like, oh, wait a minute. It took me longer than I'd care to admit, though. That's for sure. But I lit up here at this point because he isn't. I expected it to be an open wheel car chase.
Yeah.
Officer Bruno's chasing down somebody, something. He'll set up how cool Hudson Hawk is, blah 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 blah.
Yeah. He's going to be a humorless John McClane
yeah.
type, like come out to the coast,
Yep.
chase down a few hawks.
If John McClane was a jazz singer, I think that's what I was imagining. Too cool, moonlighting or something.
Yeah.
A light noir, whatever the opposite of a white version is.
Cracker noir.
Cracker noir. So this was cool because I was like, oh, this has a budget. That was the first thought. I was like, you've got rewrites, reshoots, I don't know. You've got money to splurge and do things 500 years in the past with Leonardo da Vinci, which I lit up at. I loved seeing all this, and it's it's cool. It's not needed, but I appreciate it a lot.
Yeah. So Leonardo da Vinci, polymath, all-round genius, the OG Renaissance man. he has created a rainbow machine. Which a rainbow machine, which side effect, it makes amazing rainbows, and a byproduct of that is it also turns lead into gold.
It sure does.
And so we get that little prologue. There's a gag where he's painting the Mona Lisa, and there's a little rectangle where the Mona Lisa's mouth should be. And you see the model for the Mona Lisa who smiles, and she has rotten teeth. And he's kind of like, what am I going to do with you, Mona?
It's a very Holmes and Watson gag. That's what it reminded me of. I said, that's exactly what... No,
they'd have stopped it. They would have lampshaded. Oh, who are you? It's my friend Lisa, or to her acquaintances, Mona. I'm rather troubled over how to paint a smile, Watson, because you see she has most
6 minutes,
teeth. Yeah.
Oh.
But yeah, no, I will give you that. It's not Whistler's mother levels of gags. But...
This is not highbrow gags. You know what? And it didn't throw me off either. I thought it was just a little throwaway gag as well.
Yeah, exactly.
Tonally, I still did not know what I was in for.
Yeah, no, me neither.
So that was exciting. So yeah, move on.
So we then leap into the present day where our protagonist, Bruno, aka Hudson Hawk, is being released from prison. Do we ever find out what he is in prison for?
Robberies.
Because I wasn't paying...
I'm sure something went wrong.
Like he's a burglar, but we don't find out exactly how he was busted, do we? It's just like eventually it caught up with him.
I assumed. I don't know. I just assumed because he meets up. Spoilers. Well, no spoilers because we're getting there anyway. He meets up with his partner, his former partner.
Yeah, it's his lover.
Danny
Aiello.
Danny Aiello, which made me Mark. So I assumed again, just it's not even relevant. I just assumed that it would be because, burglary had gone wrong. And he's been a good guy. He didn't rat because Bruno ain't no rat, and now he's out.
Yeah, so apparently Bruno and Danny Aiello are really good friends in real life and had been looking to do a project together for ages. and Dan Aiello actually, I think, declined work in order to do Hudson Hawk, which comes across because they have great chemistry in this.
So obviously we're going to speak about something very soon, but they instantly click. Like, I don't think I'm not the biggest Bruno fan. I've told you this before. We've gone over this.
Yeah.
Profess my love for Die Hard 2. It's my favorite, but sometimes I don't like Bruno's comedic timings. Let's say it's very stilted and flat sometimes, but he bounced off Danny really, really well, and it comes across instantly. So I was like, okay, that's good. Like Bruno ain't great when he's not having fun and he doesn't have chemistry with someone. And he has both of that in spades here.
Yeah, exactly. I'm hot and cold on Bruno, perhaps because Bruno himself is hot and cold on the pursuit of acting, in that like it's night and day when he cares about something and when he doesn't. And so I was wrong to describe him as humorless when he's John McClane, because he's not humorless, but he's like kind of like quite dry
and sarcastic.
Yeah. Whereas in this, he's much more like lively, and there's like a fun side to him that I hadn't really seen.
I don't think I've ever seen, because he's always too cool for school. He's never gonna. Yeah, so I think. I mean, the energy is contagious as well, and I think it's contagious to like his co-stars here as well. So yeah, 100%. It's a new side of Bruno.
So Danny picks him up, and then he says to him, "What do you want to do? Statue of Liberty? Entertain some ladies, Miss Saigon ticks, seduce some women, play Nintendo, bone some chicks?" And then Bruno hits him with, "What's Nintendo?" Which he's been away a long time.
He's been away for a long time.
Has changed.
So what's this, 91? He's got to be away a decade at least. Which I think he does say. I think
burglary, and I also committed manslaughter.
Yeah. You got done for redacted. We'll just leave that.
Yeah, we made the decision not to reveal his crime when we thought that the audience might have difficulty sympathizing with a child molester. So we just left it to the audience's imagination.
Exactly.
But yeah, I like the Nintendo thing. I was like, in a just world, this would be our MCU. We wouldn't get all those memes about like Captain America understanding that reference and knowing what Happy Days are. It would be all about Bruno and Nintendo. But this movie almost seems brought to you by Nintendo, because the next characters we meet are the Mario Brothers.
New York, New Jersey's biggest fat crime family or something. The Mario Brothers, and it is set up like a punchline as well. So it's not a coincidence, especially so close to the Nintendo line. Yeah. And this is the greatest reveal. And this is 10 minutes into the movie. You've seen his name flash up. I didn't know the big man was here, but we are introduced to pretty much our first full time for Frank Stallone.
Yeah.
You know, he's a Razzie winner. We've covered him before. We've listened to his music, but this is the first time seeing him perform.
Did you know he's also a Renaissance man, because he doesn't just sing, he also acts.
Great. Yeah, well, he's in Rocky. Yeah, you know, he's a singing hobo in Rocky. I've seen Frank in some things before. Like, obviously I have, just because he is...
Fred Claus.
Yeah. All the hits. But here's probably the biggest supporting role I've ever seen him in, which I thought was great. Especially for 91 or whenever we are, you know, I was like, Frank's never, you know, it's going to be someone else, someone cheaper.
Well, joking about it to you, we haven't fully got into when I was like non-ironically in love with this film, but I'm not being entirely insincere when I say that this perhaps outstrips any film in his brother's filmography.
All of them.
If you gave me the choice between winning an Oscar for Rocky or just being in Hudson Hawk, I might have to choose Hudson Hawk.
Right, we'll get to it when we finish our Frank Stallone special, where we watch his entire filmography. then we'll talk again.
Because I thought there might be a jibe against Sylvester Stallone in this, because Bruno, when he's talking to Frank, he's like, you know, directions even your brother could understand.
I thought
and
that.
I was like, we're gonna get post-credit scene. Sylvester, like, I thought Frank was gonna be the villain, and he's gonna get knocked off, and then Sly is gonna have his like Thanos, fine, I'll do it myself moment, putting on the boxing glove.
I 100%. I mean, he could have turned to the camera and smiled. But I did get there was a little, you know, I'm not gonna get excited, but I was like, maybe this was Hudson Hawk 2. You know, the brother, and they was coming back, and I was like, oh, that's Die Hard 3. So maybe he just used the script again. He's like, I never managed to make my Hudson Hawk 2. I never got the success. I would have loved if Sly was here, even as a third brother to the Mario brothers. I'd have loved that. But yeah, no, great to see Frank. And yeah, I haven't spoke about how much I love this film or like it. I've told people to watch it. Unironically, I really enjoy Frank Stallone here. It's a Sopranos performance, but it's fun, and he's having fun, and he's trying. And I got a little bit, like, oh, how adorable are you? Really, you've practiced your lines, Frank. You've you're having a blast here. It's that enthusiasm, infectiousness, though, and it's like it carries across to every actor in this.
Yeah, you're not gonna bring your part of your ass to Hudson Hawk. If Bruno, the most half-assed performer the industry has ever known, if he's bringing his A game, you have to rise to his level.
100%.
There's no phoning it in on this.
And he's pulling Frank Stallone up to levels that I never thought were achievable. So thoroughly impressed.
Yeah, so little side fact for you here.
Ooh.
Because the version of this film we're watching was like an Italian version, in Italian, Hudson Hawk has the subtitle Il Mago del Furto. Okay. So it's Hudson Hawk, the Wizard of the Future.
Oh,
in Italian.
Oh, that's a good title. I like that.
Which, possible franchise. Hudson Hawk and the Philosopher's Stone, Hudson Hawk and the Chamber of Secrets. But yeah, Hudson Hawk, Wizard of the Future isn't maybe the first title I would use. I would maybe use Hudson Hawk and the Return of Bruno, because this is... At first, I was like, is this a musical? Because there is a big musical inflection to one of the scenes, and that was where I was like, I'm having too good a time for this to be a Razzie winner. Something has to change. And when Bruno starts singing Bing Crosby, I was like, oh, is this gonna be where they lose me?
Well, it's entirely opposite for me, because it's that you had my attention, you had my curiosity, but now you have my attention. It was. Yeah. I was intrigued. I was on board for Frank. I was on board for how much I've already seen in the opening, first quarter or whatever. So I was like, oh, what else is this going to throw at me? Like, I'm watching it, and as soon as if it turned into a full musical, I would have cried. But the way it's interjected, I really enjoyed that. I like the moments of because it just turns up the weird. It turns up everything, dials everything up to 11. I'm up for it. Bruno, you said it, this is why he wanted to make this film. He gets to sing and dance with his friend. It's good to watch. It's fun to watch. He's not a good singer either. I know I've got his fucking albums. I should know this more, but he, it's good. This is the moment it probably had me. You've grabbed me now. Keep it up. Throw me some new characters. Give me a new villain or something I want to see, which I'll get. Give me something that's fun. Up it. Don't lose momentum, keep this going. What else can you show me? Yeah,
because this scene is where it's the Mario Brothers. Frank, I can't remember how they do it or what his incentive is, but he's pulling a hit for, or not pulling a hit, he's doing a job for the Mario Brothers if he's committing a robbery. And it's like the Night Fox from Ocean's 12. The key to Bruno's skill is that he times his robberies to show tunes. So he has a little playlist, and that's where he sings along to Swinging on a Star.
Yes.
As he's committing the robbery.
I like his Rain Man knowledge of every song as well.
Yeah.
I like that a lot. That was fun.
Yeah, maybe this is just revenge, because speaking of Bruno, and my mum being a big Bruno fan, Ocean's 12, Bruno features in. One of my favourite moments in cinema, which I've spoken about on the podcast before, is Bruno's in Ocean's 12 playing Bruno. And they have the thing where Julia Roberts' character, he thinks Julia Roberts' character is Julia Roberts, which just opens a whole can of worms.
Yeah.
But my mum always hated the scene with Vincent Cassel doing his dancing to French techno over lasers and under. And I was like, no, this is awesome. but you shift that back like a decade and it becomes Bruno singing show tunes. And, not for me, not for me. Bring it back when it's Vincent Cassell and Daft Punk, then I'm in. So they pull off the robbery, and then Bruno's acquaintance is instantly murdered by our next character, James Coburn, who I know primarily as Mr. Waternoose from Monsters Inc. But I just saw Pat Garrett and Billy the Kid the other day.
So yeah, I love Coburn. This is me popping up again. This is my excitement levels. I said to you, I did not expect Frank Stallone and James don't share a scene, unfortunately, but they share a movie. I like to imagine they're on set together in my little head. I love Coburn. I love Pat Garrett, Billy the Kid. I love Fistful of Dynamite. So, he's worked with two of my heroes in Peckinpah and Leone. He's always what I wish, like Charles Bronson was. Coburn's my man. He'd be my death wish. Dirty Harry. I'd cast him in everything. I love him. I love how much fun he has in this movie. Again, I know I've been saying that, it's repeating, but he's someone who I thought would be being the straight man. He'd be very straight, but
I thought he'd be another humorless kind of
he's great fun in it, and he's got his like almost little Colonel Troutman outfits, which made me smile as well. I was like, oh, if I made a Rambo in '91, my casting's sorted already. So excited to see it, and excited to see new characters, because it's been a turnover already, and again, I don't know where this fucking thing's gonna go. I don't even know when the film's going to begin. I guess you could pretty much cut everything and just do a quick wrap up and start here. Coburn could have just told me about this, but I'm glad to see it. I'm glad to see everything up to this point. It plays up the zaniness of how because this is like a Stooges film almost. This is very slapstick. This is very goofy, and it is going to be segmented in sort of non-linear and stuff. Oh, I'm going to be pretentious about this film, but yeah, I think it's really fresh, and I'm being used to just fucking dross and by the numbers, and Guy Ritchie wouldn't fucking do this, but really excited. So I was happy when Coburn came in.
The tone is so hard to get a handle on, because I thought, like, my message was like, oh, like, shit's just got real, we're getting dark, like Bruno's associate has just been murdered in cold blood, but Mr. Waternoose quips like, oh, so much for his cut. Forgive my dry British humor. And so we then go off and we have our Raiders moment. Can you recall where that, like the auction, where that's
somewhere happening? Is that not I assumed it was the art gallery itself. I can see the establishing shot, so maybe it doesn't matter. It doesn't really matter.
Bruno, I think, is like, I can't quite remember it. Wasn't perhaps paying as much attention as I should be. But basically, the job was kind of like an audition, and so they're like, okay, Bruno, now we've got some real work for you to do, and they take him off to some auction museum place where we get a Raiders of the Lost Ark scene, and someone's head explodes.
Which is great. I love it. Again, so a lot of people might find this a mishmash. I mean, I guess this is why no one liked it, because it is a little bit of everything. There's show tunes. There's Stooges pranks. There's head explosions. There's
Bruno himself is referred to as a screwball comedy, and it definitely has like a bit of that kind of back and forth.
If it was in the hands of, if it had more cohesion, like this could be. This could be re-rattled around. I can see the Coens taking over and, like doing something really just a little bit more structured, maybe, out of this. Yeah. Or consistent. Maybe consistent is the best word for it. It is all over the place. I mean, I like it. I like a bit of whiplash because it keeps me awake. It plays to my, ADHD. It just keeps me interested. But I love this Raiders thing. I love this transition into the real plot, I guess, which is all just nice. I like when we get introduced to our next characters as well, if you want to, because I know that's a highlight for you.
Yeah, so this is where we get Andy McDowell introduced here, and we get, are you meaning the brother and sister?
Yes. I forgot about Andy McDowell.
Yeah. So the big villains of this piece are Richard E. Grant and his sister.
Mm-hmm.
They're essentially I forget the name of the guy in The Last Crusade, but the guy who makes Indy go after the Holy Grail.
Yes.
They're like, we're gonna hire Bruno to get Da Vinci's alchemy machine,
Mm-hmm.
and they're the sort of mustache twirling villains.
Mm-hmm.
So Andy McDowell, what is Andy McDowell's
Uh,
role in this film again? She's like
yeah, so
I know what she becomes, but when she's introduced,
is she not just a fellow auctioneer? Is that the word?
yeah, she's probably just like a
A
woman
socialite,
who's like
like
like an attractive woman.
yeah,
And Bruno
woman,
has
red
been in
dress.
prison for a while.
Yeah.
So machines go off, like a robbery is staged, like things are blown up, including someone's head.
Mm-hmm.
And Bruno saves Andy McDowell. And Andy McDowell, like, we've just seen a man's head explode. And Andy McDowell turns to Bruno and says, like, you didn't have to tackle me. You
Yeah.
ripped my dress. Like,
Yeah.
completely, like, stone-faced. And she's like, oh, I'm only joking with you. I was like, a man's head's just exploded. Like, you probably have brains on your dress.
I like this. They could, but because it's intentional, it made me laugh, and I was like, it's rare that I'm laughing with a film on the show. So yeah, it's very effective. It keeps you awake, keeps you on your toes.
That's where the screwball came across. The screwball comedy aspect came across, because I was like, this is so like. This is clearly some stylized vision we're watching where violence is just so normalized in the Hudson Hawk universe that a man's head can explode in front of you and it doesn't raise your pulse like at all.
I like it.
Because we then get the Super Mario Brothers ambulance.
Yes.
So Bruno gets knocked out or something, doesn't he? Just after that interaction with Andy
Yeah,
McDowell.
he gets by one of the goons for the Mario Brothers, I believe, isn't it?
Yeah, something funny happened. Like, he's knocked out in comedic fashion of like shit's going down, and he's kind of like super competent Bruce Willis type. And then it's almost like he's just clocked on the head by someone riding by and like comedy knockout. And he wakes up in the back of a Mario Brothers ambulance, which says Mario Brothers on it. And Bruno, like they're set to have their way with Bruno. He's not gonna tolerate any of that, because he picks up like a tray of syringes and slams it into one of their faces.
Non Frank
like,
Stallone, yeah, the other one.
Yeah. Oh yeah, sorry, just the Mario entourage.
Yeah.
And that was like amazing. That was where I was first being like, okay, this film is amazing, because I was like,
it was the point.
It's an Indiana Jones film now.
Yeah.
I was like, he's just on the run, and he like that's almost like a Final Destination-esque, like nightmarish image of just getting like all of those syringes to the face. It's really striking. And then Bruno goes out the back of the ambulance on a stretcher, and he's still attached. So he's getting pulled through the streets on this stretcher. And a woman throws a cigarette out the window, and he catches it and has a smoke.
Yeah.
And that was where I was like, this is an Indiana Jones film. I was like, if John Williams was playing and Steven Spielberg was directing, I was like, I would love this.
And
this would be...
And this is cool as well. I was actually impressed at the hanging out the ambulance on the gurney or whatever. And by the sheet, I was like, "Oh, this has budget. This has love and care into it." Yeah, I got the Indie Jones, the indie vibes rather. Probably about the same point, maybe just about around here. And I was like, it's very very relevant because I haven't seen Indie 5 yet, and I know I'm going to come out and be like, well, you know what, it was good, but it was no fucking Hudson Hawk, was it? Like. There's not my indie. But yeah, this is great fun. This is a great set piece.
Yeah.
It's 100 miles an hour in terms of genuine, quite little thrills, striking images, like you say, the cigarette thing as well. I just thought the sound effects at this point and the music's queuing up to when zany things happen. Just all aboard. I'm all for it. Let's just. Take me away, Bruno. Drive that ambulance.
I am the worst person for just switching off during action scenes, but this I was completely gripped. And we even have like a little quip where he's like, how am I driving? 1-800, I'm gonna fucking die. So yeah, no, that sequence was just incredible. We then get our introduction to the candy bars. So the candy bars are basically a gang of henchmen, I guess, hench people, and they have their code names are candy bars. So it's like
I remember Kit Kat and I remember Butterfinger. Big guy.
Oh yeah,
Big,
yeah.
those are the two that clicked to my head.
I'm rubbish with American candy bars and which ones they have and don't have. So I was like, not
I don't know the other ones.
Picnic bar, Milky Way, Mars, but Milky Way, but not our Milky Way. Different thing. It's also called Milky Way. Babe Ruth, but not the baseball player. So we get them, and then like Bruno sort of raises an eyebrow, and one of them's like, "Yeah, when we first started out, our code names were diseases. Do you know what it's like being called chlamydia for a year?" And so yeah, we meet the gang of hench people. And Butterfinger is this big guy.
Yeah.
He's kind of like buzz cut, like flat top, like the Russian from The Punisher, or to name drop something of which I'm incredibly humiliated here. I denigrated myself as an extra in the latest Indiana Jones film. And there is a Butterfinger in that of this massive, like 8 foot tall Dutch guy, blonde Dutch guy with a sort of like, blonde buzz cut, like a sort of Nazi heavy. That's who Butterfinger is, or perhaps he may have been Lou Gehrig's when they were going by diseases. So they'll come up, so just to establish them. But now we go to the proper introduction of the villains.
Yeah. Okay.
And this is where Bruno is, like, they take Bruno to Italy, I think.
Yeah.
Like, the chocolate bars take Bruno to a plane and fly him to Italy. And this is where I'm like, the film's going to take a turn here. I was like, this is going to be like the film starts now, and I'm going to be stuck watching some Da Vinci Code nonsense as opposed to Raiders of the Lost Ark or Last Crusade. And Richard E. Grant and Sister are the two villains who sort of commission Bruno with his task of finding the rainbow machine. Bruno quips, "I guess we've seen who wears the penis in this family." And another note I have, the child's game, like handcuff.
Yeah, the Simon Says.
I thought that would come back into it.
I did that. I didn't get that either. I thought it was, I don't know what, I was like, it was another like video game thing at first. I was like, oh, they're going for like a Nintendo thing. But yeah, it's like a Simon Says handcuff lock.
It's like, it's almost like a big like xylophone. Yeah, like, you've got these big kind of like colored.
I like it. I remember it. I know you lit up for Richard E. Grant because he. I mean, like the thing is, I'm calling it contagious. Everyone hears Harambe. Everyone's having fun to the absolute max. He is having a blast. I love when he talks about his little speech about being a billionaire or something at 17. I don't know what line it was. And where'd you go next after that? World domination. Everyone applauds. It's very Austin Powers before Austin Powers.
Yeah.
I was all up for this campy villain stuff. So you've got me now. Like I say, Stallone was just like the starters, the appetizers. But I'm ready for the main course, and I was worried too. I was worried that this was going to be the point where it gets slow. I thought the momentum was going to crash to a halt, and it's going to be fucking Michael Caine or something that isn't going to have as much fun. It's going to be Undead. Like something's going. I don't know who the fuck it's going to be, but someone's going to come to a grinding halt. And yeah, I was so up for this.
Yeah, well, I was worried because Richard E. Grant, I really like. Like I like With Nail and I is one of my favorite films. But fresh in my mind, and I think he's great in Can You Ever Forgive Me? But fresh in my mind is Rise of Skywalker. And so I'm always just waiting for this film to take a turn and for all the fun to vanish. And I was like, oh, is he going to be doing like a really boring Machiavellian chill performance? I was like, is that how they're going to ruin this? So I was prepared to... I was prepared for this to be a performer. I like giving a performance. I do not. But I was cautious. But as soon as we saw this and he was chewing the scenery, I was like, I am digging this.
I I haven't seen a campier performance probably yet on the show. I'm all for that. I thought, yeah, fuck yeah, chew, chew, chew. Like, go nuts, you're
Another bite. You're not yet
yeah.
full. You can take some more.
And that's
There's a
it.
spit bucket over there if you get
Make
full.
Hudson Hawk's only coming to come around once. So make your fucking most of it. Enjoy it while it's here. Because they ain't doing this again. This film ain't happening again. So enjoy it while it's here.
So my feelings towards him have been kind of soured slightly because Mark Kermode, one of my favourite film critics, met Richard E. Grant, interviewed him, and he told Richard E. Grant that he was one of the few people who actually really liked Hudson Hawk. So Mark Kermode, come on the podcast. But Grant responded, "It was a stinking pile of steaming hot donkey droppings, and you are an idiot." Which I was like, fuck you. Like,
I mean,
this is the man who just falls over with I've just seen Rise of Skywalker, and it is the pinnacle of cinema. I cried, I laughed, I stood and cheered. And you're gonna eulogize that abomination of a film, and yet you're gonna call someone an idiot for liking Hudson Hawk.
Yeah. He is in much worse than Hudson Hawk. He can get fucked.
Exactly, yeah.
And you know what? He could have just said, yeah, that's a bit shitty. He could have just said, maybe the film didn't turn out. It was a bit of a mess. I had fun, and the paycheck was good. Move on.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know, was it Darren Doan who spoke about, he's just you never, shit on the fans. You never say that you're above anything, because, even if you, don't see that yourself, telling someone, oh, you're an idiot for liking a thing I did, is just kind of, I don't know, I
agree.
I kind of lost, a little bit of respect for, I mean, I guess it's hard to say without seeing it in context, because I call people an idiot in an affectionate way all the time, at least myself.
Yeah.
But, so it might be less cold than that, of oh, ha ha ha, I'm glad, but, yeah. But another piece of trivia is that Richard E. Grant says part of the reason he and Sandra Bernhard got on so well was that they both quickly realised the production was a mess and that the film was likely to be terrible.
Yeah, that's exactly it. You can see that on the screen. It's a fine line between, is this intentional, or are you just kind of seeing how far you can push things?
Yeah, exactly.
Both of them as well look like they are egging each other.
This is a sinking ship, so I might as well just
We've both been there, yeah. We've both been there, so I get that.
I don't know what you mean, Kyle. So another interesting piece of trivia before we depart from Richard E. Grant was that he said he was in line to play the Sheriff of Nottingham in Prince of Thieves.
Oh, okay.
But he had to turn it down because of reshoots on Hudson Hawk. And so that gave Alan Rickman his part. Which, I don't know, maybe that contributes to why Richard E. Grant feels so bitter towards this film.
Yeah. I mean, on one hand as well, I kind of do get that. You'd hold maybe a bit of resentment for it if, because that does wonders for Rickman, doesn't it? So,
and whereas Richard E. Grant is kind of in the doldrums for a lot of the 90s, I guess. So, yeah, if you're looking at that, just swap. Richard E. Grant can do Prince of Thieves, and Alan Rickman can reunite with Bruno. So we are then are we in Rome? My note here is, we must be in Rome because we go to the Vatican.
Yes.
Bruno's double.
Yes.
So there's a scene where, because Bruno's getting notes from who's giving Bruno notes from the Secret Society? We've missed a note already.
Yeah, I thought they just randomly pop up, in events. It doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter.
Because, we've got the CIA, we've got the candy bars, we've got brother and sister, and we've got, this...
And we've got Indiana Jones stuck in the middle of it.
We've got this sort of Knights Templar organisation who are slipping Bruno notes. And so there's a guy where there's... Bruno's just doing a scene. There's a guy directly over his shoulder, just miming and copying all of his movements, which is really funny. And then he hands him this little card with a secret message about oh, we're watching you or whatever. But I don't know, just dumb, but really made me laugh. Just little detail that
That's it. For such a chaotic production, and sometimes it does. I don't feel I don't know what the way. It doesn't feel ad hoc. It doesn't feel thrown together at times. I don't know. There's a lot of creativity going on in here. But yeah, that was a good moment. I agree with that.
We then get the Pope watching Mr. Ed.
Right there.
Of course, we're a big fan of talking animals, talking horses in this podcast, whether that is horsing around or hot to trot, but yeah, Pope apparently also a fan of Mr. Ed. Then we get Andy McDowell and Bruno are having dinner together, and she says, I seem to have a thing for sinners. And he says, oh, I seem to have a thing for sinning. And then immediately they pick up the check. She's just like, check, please. And then, like, they're just like hard cut to they're in bed together. And we get the explanation for Hudson Hawk, which is, she's like, oh, like, why do people call you Hudson Hawk? He's like, well, you know, a hawk is like a cold wind or whatever. And I grew up in New Jersey on the Hudson River, so Hudson Hawk. And I was like, pretty anticlimactic.
Well, it's also like, because his name's like Hawkins, isn't it, as well?
Is it?
Someone calls it. I'm sure his partner. I'm sure Danny does. I'm sure Danny.
Eddie Hawkins. Yeah.
Right. It comes up at one point. Maybe Frank Stallone or something says like Eddie Hawkins, like Hudson Hawk himself. So I was like, all right, well, it's your last name and where you're from, right?
Yeah.
But here's Bruno spouting shit with a tattoo on his back, like, you know, it represents, you know, they say Hawk is, you know, and he's from this side. And I was like, fuck you, man, like.
You can never get too close to.
Yeah, exactly. They fly solo and all this shit.
Yeah.
So I was like, but I thought it was deliberate. I was like, to try and impress Andy McDowell. Then I actually thought that was smart. Again, I don't know whether it was genius or insanity, but I loved it either way.
Well, I'm glad you mentioned Solo, because that was where my mind went. I was like, this was so anticlimactic. Just give him the Godfather 2 Solo explanation for he's going through customs and his luggage says like Hudson. It has a big sticker of a hawk, and then they just stamp Hudson Hawk on his passport. And he's like, hey, you know, that's a pretty sweet name.
It is a cool name for the record, though. Like, it's a good name for your film as well. Hell yeah.
It's a badass name, just with a piss-poor explanation. Yeah. So my recommendation, Bruno, is do not tell anyone where it came from.
For next time.
Yeah. Okay. So they are in bed, and things are getting hot and heavy. And then Andy McDowell's like, oh, I don't know. I haven't had sex in a while. And Bruno's like, what do you mean? Outside of a friendly dog, this has been a very slow decade. If I don't make love every 10 years, I get a little cranky.
Yeah. That's why, that's the line. It brings me back to how long he was in prison for. I knew it was like a decade. I knew something told me. That's the line. I was like, okay, he didn't.
7-year itch.
Yeah.
10-year stint in Sing Sing for burglary. And my next note, and an incredibly awkward segue, is Butterfinger, who comes out with his line, "You want me to rape him?" Because the candy bars are sitting in their surveillance van outside, and they're like sort of monitoring Bruno and Andy McDowell, and the other two are like, oh, they're worried, they're like, oh, is this gonna work or whatever. And then Butterfinger, Lou Gehrig, his suggestion is raping. You know, like, I think is that just a complete non sequitur? Is this Bruno being like, if I don't make love every 10 years, I get a little cranky? And Butterfinger's like, well, if he needs it, then.
It was 9. Yeah, no, it was 9 years and 364 days. You know, it was so fucking close, Butterfinger. Yeah, that was a weird line. That made me stop my tracks. I genuinely.
Yeah, it was a double take. I was like, did I hear that right? Is that an accent?
Yeah. Swiftly on.
Swiftly on. So my next line is the gold machine for the hose at home, which is Richard E. Grant. Because there are a lot of weird lines in this film.
No, right. You can tell me when it is, because you've been keeping track a little bit better than I have. The weirdest line for me, and my biggest, like, what the fuck in this film is...
More than you want me to rape him. There's a weirder line than that.
I know it's maybe it's situational, maybe it's contextual, and I can't say this in any other way, really. It's when he's getting aroused by a dog attack in his groin.
Hang on, have I missed this?
Sandra, it's Sandra Bernhard, or whatever her name is, her dog.
Yeah.
The little yappy thing. And it attacks, jumps up in his crotch, and he has a line. And then she's like, get down! Bubbles, or whatever the dog's name. And he's like, oh, give me 5 more minutes and I'd have been there. It's been a long time. Yeah, no, honestly, he's getting off and the dog's going for his crotch.
I mean, I knew it was like, because that's the outside of a friendly dog. I thought that was just him doing a bit.
I don't know, because
I don't know if this is another lonely lady.
He brings it up again. He brings it up again when when Andy McDowell gets attacked by the dog. Now it's your turn. I was so close last time or something.
I've always dreamed of having a threesome. Yeah,
he is just going to explode at the slightest touch. I think is kind of the point. His head's there's going to be another head explosion any minute. Yeah, that was my moment of what the fuck am I actually watching? But still great. That's not an insult. That's not a bad thing. Any other film and I'd been moaning for an hour and a half. But here, fuck yeah.
Here is Bruno into bestiality. Who can tell? I'm
going to roll with it, Bruno. I trust your artistic vision and your screenwriting, story play. Go for it.
What a fantastic segue, because I was just about to say that Bruno is credited as providing the story on this film, and IMDb says that he made a lot of contributions in the form of improv. So neither of us have looked at the nominations for this film, but this is nailed on for a nomination and likely win for worst screenplay, just because Bruno is involved.
But there was,
maybe that is,
and I don't know, I haven't looked at them, but he didn't write the screenplay. There was he wrote a story by Bruno.
Yeah,
which
Bruno's
which makes sense
cool
with it.
jazz-loving dude with a nice hat.
Yeah.
Indiana Jones, and then hands that over to his screenwriter.
And you can tell there's stuff on set that probably done.
Yeah,
he's come up with, and
he's like, "What if my character is sexually excited by dogs? That would be a kind of cool thing. Can we work that into the screenplay? What if we get like a big Alsatian in for tomorrow's shoot? Do we know where we can find one of those? Do you have dogs in Italy?"
So I assume, this is my assumption, you maybe can tell me in the IMDb trivia, but yeah, there's a story, like you say, the cool dude with a hat. He's also the best burglar and is amazing. That's Bruno's part, and a few ad libs, maybe some of, like he knows things. A lot of the references and some of the, if we were saying this Stooges stuff might have been his as well, like on the set, popping a sound effect, bish bash bosh. But he didn't write this, and I don't think there was a tight script. I feel like again, it could be totally wrong. I just feel like that the ideas are there and the structure is what the credited screenwriters probably did.
I would
make
agree
sense
with you that the tight script did not make it to screen. So whether there was at one point a lot more of a dry script, and they just threw in so much stuff and improvised that it ended up going like massively off course.
This could have been a Die Hard 2.5 at one point.
Yeah. If you strip out a bunch of stuff, this could be a far more bland, less interesting, but more sort of straightforward, competent adventure. But speaking of that sort of like freewheeling Bruno that we get, I was furious on his behalf, because I was like, he gets so much criticism. And rightly so, because in lots of films you can tell he's just completely checked out. See friend of the show Kevin Smith speaking about his experience shooting with him on Cop Out. But like it's very obvious when Bruno perhaps doesn't have the hugest amount of respect for the material he is dealing with. But on this occasion, he's pouring his heart and soul into this project.
100%.
And everyone turns on him and is like, "Oh, this sucks. This is a disaster. Ha 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 ha. This is shit." I was like, no wonder he phoned it in for the next 3 decades. I was like, he gave it his all in this, and people are like, yeah, lame. No wonder he turned around and was like, "Yeah, sure, I'll do Die Hard 4.0. Kevin Smith wants to make a Die Hard? Sure, I'll be there. I'll hang out and I'll just go back to my trailer and listen to some blues."
I mean, I agree with you. I'd agree more if this was the late 90s, because Bruno still has a lot to give in the 90s.
Yeah.
We're still years away from not even just Pulp or The Fifth Element, but Die Hard 3 is still to come, and he still gives a shit in some of these. But if this was like 99, if this was his like
then that's a clear
cut. Yeah, Stallone's done that. As much as I hate to say it, you get those clear lines, late 90s. It ain't
Yeah.
the
You're
peaks are
right. Bruno
yeah.
had not yet begun to peak in terms of he
No,
still had a lot more in the
he
tank.
still had a lot more
Um,
hair. You can the more it goes, the less of a shit he gives. Is kind of my rule of
yeah.
thumb.
Yeah.
Uh,
It's maybe just because I don't think I've ever seen him as present in a film as he is in this one, and it's sort of loose and freewheeling. The freewheeling Bruno. What's Bruno's second name? Can you remember? It's like Bruno Rigatoni or Rigatoli or something. Anyway, I can't quite remember.
I'll look it up.
Filling time. Have you ever swung on a star? A pig is a mule and a mule's a
Yeah,
fish.
no idea. I'm just carry on.
Okay, well you're gonna have to fill time
Yeah.
because I can get you.
Okay, you get me quicker. All right. What song? What? 3 minutes 37 seconds.
It is um. God damn it! I was looking at it just the other day. Um. Bruno Radolini
Radolini.
is Bruno Radolini
Rad.
is the jazz persona of Bruce Willis. So
It's a good name as well.
so you said it when we were watching this. You were like, "This is not one we will be able to summarize at
Oh,
all. Like,
we've
we
done
will
a much
not
better
be able
job
to
than
go scene
I
by scene."
thought.
Yeah. Credit to us. We have given it
Honestly,
our best.
this
We've
could
done
have been.
better than I
We
expected.
always joke about what would be a short episode, like, but this could have just
This
ended.
one will be a mere 4
Yeah,
hours. Yeah,
this
yeah,
could,
no, this,
I could talk about this forever. I want people to watch it though.
yeah,
It feels weird, like, but it's like I say, it's already a thumbs up. Go
yeah.
watch it. Like, I'm not saying turn off this podcast. Like, subscribe and share, please. But yeah, this is
If you've got to this point and you haven't watched it,
yeah,
either
yeah,
want to watch it, what the fuck are you doing?
yeah. Like, I'd like to do an audio track for this. I would love to just. I'd love to speak to people about this. I'd love to have a behind the
Yeah.
scenes. I'd want to see
Hmm.
more. I'd want to see a
I
sequel.
know, I'm so fascinated by every aspect of this
Hmm.
production. But yeah, my notes rapidly deteriorate here because we get the opening the Ark of the Covenant scene
Hmm.
where they get the little rainbow dream
Yep.
catcher
They're in each Da
device.
Vinci masterpiece or something. They're hidden in. Bruno gets
Yeah.
them all together. They're all ready to go for Richard E. Grant.
And they assemble it, they turn it on, and Bruno says to Andy McDowell, "Don't look, they're tied to a stake." And he says, "Don't look." No, but he's like, "Hey, do you think they need every piece?" And she's like, "Huh?" And he's like, holds up like a little piece that he didn't give them. Because like they ask Bruno to assemble the device, don't they?
Yeah, yeah.
And I'm like, this is like it is just a puzzle piece. And I was like, there's no gimmick to it. It's like it's just a square peg into square hole. And they're like, we can't. Dr. Jones, where is the instructions? You will assemble the device, Dr. Jones. Oh, we will kill you. And so Bruno, they delegate the job to Bruno, which rookie error. If they'd put it together themselves, they'd be like, it appears to be missing a big piece. But Bruno tricks him. He keeps a little crystal rainbow fragment, and that causes the device to go Ark of the Covenant
Yep.
mode and
Which is great.
kill
Great
everyone.
effects. Yeah.
Yeah,
I love the slaughter. I love the explosions. I love. It's the sister that turns to like stone as well, isn't it? Like she like
yeah.
carbonates herself. Great stuff. Great stuff all around. Still zany though. Never changing. It's by this point the tone is very firmly set. It's a wackier, goofier indie, like we said. Yeah, I love this. I love the fight scenes with the helicopter to get Andy out of there. I believe this is all before they fight Butler Man as well and decapitate him, which is a weird
Yeah.
sentence to say. Again, it just sounds like 15 different films.
A dog gets punted.
Yeah. Oh, it's wonderful. Right out the window as well. That made me laugh. That was very It's Always Sunny. I could see that happening. Charlie Day punting a dog after Dennis getting sexually aroused by seeing it again. Wonderful, wonderful stuff. It rapidly barrels towards its ending, but I'm okay with that. I don't need to breathe. I don't need to slow down. Just let's go, go, go,
No.
go, 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 go.
As I always quote Billy Wilder, join every scene late, leave every scene early. This follows that to a T. We start in the Renaissance, and then we get out in a timely fashion.
Yeah, which I
It's
never would have
almost-
thought.
It's almost Bond-esque, where the final lines are Bruno saying to Andy McDowell, "Will you play Nintendo with me?"
Classic.
All we need is like Q being like, "What is Hawk doing? It appears he's playing Super Smash Brothers."
Well, I thought Danny would have done that because Danny's shown to be alive. There's a fake out that he goes off a cliff.
Yeah.
His little fake out of being alive. I can't remember how he survived. He did say. But anyway, it's not important. I thought he was going to deliver the Q line, and we were going to literally freeze frame or something, and it's going to be a Roman, a Bruce Willis production.
We have all the time in the world.
At 4 minutes 47,
So we are out of there, baby, and we get the credits. And this film, I thought there would be more song nominations for this film because there is original music for Hudson Hawk. But surprisingly, this film was not nominated for Worst Original Song. So the Razzie nominations, we have one Worst Picture, obviously. Bruce Willis, was nominated for Eddie Hudson Hawkins in Hudson Hawk. Entirely undeserved.
Yeah.
Like, if you're in any doubt as to what we're going to see for that, I think this is one of the best performances of his career. Looper, Moonrise Kingdom, John McClane, Hudson Hawk. So, worst supporting actor, Richard E. Grant in Hudson Hawk as Darwin Mayflower. Richard E. Grant, for his derogatory comments about Hudson Hawk, said 20 years after, perhaps. But in the film, if you take him out, this film is so much less fun. If you like all our fears of a boring sort of safe performance, he's a blast to watch.
100%.
Worst supporting actress, Sandra Bernhardt in Hudson Hawk as Minerva Mayflower. I don't have as strong feelings about her, but they kind of work as a pair.
Yeah, I'd still say see above. She does exactly what she needed to do. That's not. I'm gonna say I'm fucking delighted. My boy Frank Stallone never popped up there. I thought there's the low hanging fruit. There's no way he's gonna survive. At least a nomination. It's fucking Frank Stallone, Mr. Razzie.
Yeah, exactly.
He's gonna do. Okay, fair. He escapes. Rightfully so.
It won Worst Director, Michael Lehman for Hudson Hawk, which. No, we've spoken about director's job primarily being tone management, and this is anything but a settled tone. But if this had been more of one thing, I don't know, I feel like if it hasn't happened by now, it's probably not going to happen. But Hudson Hawk is due a critical renaissance, I think, to use the word of the week.
Yeah, I agree.
Program it, midnight screenings of Hudson Hawk, quoting along, "You want me to rape him?" People punting dogs across the auditorium. This needs a second life.
100%.
Worst screenplay, surprise. Do you want to guess win or a nominee?
Win?
Yeah.
I'm not gonna argue this one. This is probably the only one I will let off because it is insane. The screenplay is probably non-existent. I mean, on paper, I don't think this is probably as good a film as it's on screen. If you tell me all the ad-libs and all the improvisations, some editing, some reshoots, I think this was salvaged from something that was probably much worse and boring. So, I'm not. And again, it is Indiana Jones, and it's I'm not. I will not fight this one. I will allow it to be nominated, but it's probably not the winner. There's going to be worse. There's always going to be worse.
Well, absolutely, yeah. We will deal with that in the second half because there are a number. I can basically say two words to disprove your entire argument because there are some awful nominees.
Well, I know three because of the worst songs, and so there is.
Yeah. And that's that. So those are the 6 nominees for this film.
Yeah.
So we've kind of covered it, not Razzie worthy in the slightest. How you would fix this film? This doesn't need to be fixed. We've kind of covered making it a little bit more tonally cohesive would change it. But what I loved about this was so unexpected from. It's like you're just hurtling along on a stretcher behind the ambulance, not going to know what's going to happen from moment to moment. So I can't even think beyond the cheapo thing of like post-credit scene.
Apart from
Sylvester
give me
Stallone
more.
as
Yeah.
the third Mario brother, and we set up the Hudson Hawk cinematic
Yeah,
universe.
I'm not.
I cannot think of any way to
I,
change
I
this
can't.
thing.
I can't. And I don't think I've had one of these since probably Cocktail, in terms of it's perfect for what it is,
Yeah.
and it shouldn't. It's not something you should really think about changing. And I'm not even getting my usual cut a bit. You know, that's usually my go-to argument. It's just cut 20 minutes out of here. Nah, keep
Yeah.
it. It's absolutely great. And even the unimportant, unnecessary stuff helps with how weird and throws you about. Literally, I hate the fucking term, but it's a roller coaster.
Yeah.
It is a fucking journey. It's an experience. Don't really recommend someone watches this, also knowing that they might hate it, and that's okay. It's just unique.
Well, to tie back to what you said about it being an experience, and to end on a little happy note. So, middling box office returns, but it was released on home video with a rebranded taglines. When it was originally released, the poster, as we discussed, said, "Catch the excitement, catch the adventure, catch the hawk."
Yeah,
And they changed that to "Catch the adventure, catch the laughter, catch the hawk."
yeah.
And so I think they leaned more into the comedy,
I want to
and
see.
they were rewarded.
Yeah, because I want to see the trailer for this. I wouldn't. I
Yeah,
bet you it's cut this summer, and he was
yeah.
in a building. He was in a plane. You know. Now he's a thief. Yeah,
Yeah.
this is going to be marketed very. You can just tell. Yeah, 100%. This is like Punch Drunk Love all over again. It's been misadvertised. I'm very glad to hear it. So it did well on video.
It was a huge success
Good,
on home video, and yeah, made profit for all concerned, including Bruno, with home market release. And it also had a video game, which is sounding vaguely familiar to me.
Oh,
Video game based on the film was released in 1991 under the title Hudson Hawk for various home computers and game consoles. Sony ImageSoft released versions of the game for the NES and Game Boy, while Ocean Software released it for the Commodore 64, Amiga, ZX Spectrum, Amstrad CPC, and Atari ST. It's a side-scrolling game where the player, as the Hawk, must steal the Sforza and the Codex from the auction house and the Vatican respectively. Then Castle Da Vinci has to be infiltrated in order to steal the mirrored crystal needed to power the gold machine. On his journey, Hawk must face many oddball adversaries, including Dachshunds that try to throw him off the roof of the auction house. Dachshunds that try and toss him off, eh?
Mm-hmm.
Janitors, photographers, killer nuns, and a tennis player, presumably Darwin Mayflower. So this is sounding vaguely familiar.
Yeah.
Because to throw my dad under the bus, the Henry Jones to my indie that got me into piracy was my dad, who used to pirate an obscene amount of media for me as a kid. And we got these little Game Boy cartridges that would have like NES and SNES games. And my dad would just download like a bunch of them because you could fit like who knows how many games. And so my dad would just give me basically everything he could think of. And so now I'm like, did I ever play the Hudson Hawk game? Because it's sounding vaguely familiar.
I mean, yeah, I can. Maybe does the box art for it, the poster for the movie?
No, it's kind of like he
Maybe
looks
that's
like Kevin Smith, to be honest. He's wearing like a big long black coat, and it's got a cartoonish style. He's sliding down a rope, and it's more Dick Tracy kind of.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. No. I wouldn't have. Even I was going to say the Amiga one where it's Bruce and looking like a predator. Yeah, no, I maybe because I had a lot of Amiga games. I don't know. I can just maybe that's why I was getting confused with Cliffhanger as well. Who knows?
Yeah. Like my dad has ZX Spectrum. We also had an Amiga that we got from my cousin, so that's why I'm like, I had a bunch of these systems with a bunch of random games. I feel like I might have played this for 10 seconds before moving back to like Aladdin or Frogger or whatever, Escape from Monkey Island.
Yes.
But, yeah, maybe that's the thing which we say we're going to do for next week, which we don't actually do, is play the Hudson Hawk video game, because I'm sure you can just find it in a web browser now. But anyway, that concludes this half of the podcast. Join us after the break when we will be bringing all of the other nominees and winners from 1991.
Perfect. See you soon.
Welcome back to the second half of the podcast where we cover all of the other winners and nominees for 1991. So our other contenders for Worst Picture were Return to the Blue Lagoon. Have you seen that?
I have not seen it. Have you?
No, I haven't seen it. It stars Brian Krause and your old nemesis Mila Jovovich.
Oh, she'd be on here at 91, isn't it? I didn't know she was doing things this early.
Yeah, neither did I. I thought Fifth Element was kind of her bursting onto the scene, but nothing to say there. Moving on to Nothing But Trouble. Have you seen Nothing But Trouble?
I sure have, though. Finally, I mean, I talked to you about Nothing But Trouble. I'm sure I have before. My boy Dan Aykroyd, his only directorial effort, I believe. He might have done more, but I'm sure this is a one and done. And Chevy, we all know Chevy. Yeah. What to say about Nothing But Trouble? Have you seen it?
I have not seen it.
Okay, you need to see Nothing But Trouble. It is a fucking weird film. I mean, it's notorious at this point. I don't like it, to be like brutally honest. It's not funny. It's not Hudson Hawk. It doesn't carry the tone across. Things miss. It's too much Dan Aykroyd. We know he needs a Belushi, a Raymond, someone there to pull him in and tone him down, letting him loose. It's most famous probably for his penis nose. One of the characters he plays has a penis for a nose, and I think this is where he's had a joint and he wrote it down and thought it was genius, and then spent $500,000 on getting the prosthetics and everything, and it kind of summarizes it. It's 91 Chevy as well, so, and it's a very subdued Chevy.
Oh, interesting.
It's not as wacky. I don't know if it's a low energy, like Jeb Bush, low energy, low effort, but it's interesting though. I think like what I like about it is the creativity. There's some bits in it that I really enjoy. It's got weird Rocky Horror elements to it that I think anyone that's seen would kind of agree with me. But it's bad. I mean, it's worse than Hudson Hawk. Let's just say that. It's a bigger bomb.
You think it deserves to be here?
Yes, because it is. Again, you'd go see this thinking Ghostbusters. You're going to think Caddyshack. You're going to think National Lampoon, SNL, and you see into the mind of Dan Aykroyd a lot more. And it's like, oh, fuck.
Why is this man getting oral sex from a ghost?
Yes, he covered it up so well in the 80s. And like I say, he had people that would tell him no and work with him. When you let Dan completely loose, it's off.
You get BDSM with Rosie O'Donnell and you get Nothing But Trouble.
And Coneheads, and we get all these greatness. Yeah, this deserves to be here. I would defend it in another time, in another world. But yeah, it does deserve to be here.
Then we have Dice Rules. Have you seen Dice Rules?
I have not. What is Dice Rules?
Dice Rules is a stand-up comedy film starring none other than Andrew Dice Clay.
I actually, for 1 minute, I was like, is this... Because he had a film. He had a movie, an actual movie, like his private parts, like his Howard Stern vehicle, I'm sure he had one. I've never seen it. I only know Andrew Dice Clay from SNL. It's notorious as one of the worst hosts. With John Hoops that walked out or refused to be with him. His character was very misogynistic, heavy, chain smokery, arrogant kind of stand-up. But it was a persona, I believe. I don't think it actually was him. I'm sure it was a character he played.
I mean, his comedy is known for kind of being
morally
reprehensible.
Yeah, the line.
He's like a misogynist hack.
I don't know much about him. If it's a concert film, though, it shouldn't really be eligible. In my opinion.
Speaking about people who are morally reprehensible, I only know Andrew Dice Clay from Woody Allen's. He's in a Woody Allen film, Blue Jasmine, I think.
Okay.
I saw him in that, and I think he's fine as a kind of schlubby, shitty husband. The old Woodsy got a decent performance out of him. And I think maybe he's in Entourage or something. I've probably seen him. He's probably cropped up in some B-tier Sandman type thing. But I don't have any great knowledge of Andrew Dice Clay beyond people saying that he's a sort of lazy hack comedian. The film begins with a half-hour narrative short titled A Day in the Life, with Andrew Dice Clay playing a fictionalized version of himself. After the short, the rest of the movie consists of footage from his shows at Madison Square Garden. So I tried to find it just because I was like, maybe I'll just watch the short, but it was beyond my pirating abilities.
Okay.
So yeah,
Fair.
alas, nothing to say on Dice Rules. But I did, however, watch our next film, Cool as Ice.
Hey, Cool as Ice. So you watched it for this one? You watched it for the podcast?
I watched it.
Okay,
You've
okay.
seen it already.
I have seen Cool as Ice. So
Yeah.
you've seen it more recently. So give me your first thoughts.
I I almost feel as if it's not a film.
Yes.
It's just like, it's so nothing. I was just like, have I watched anything?
Yes.
Have I watched just like an elongated commercial?
Yes.
Like, it's just like a, hey kids, like, it's just like brand promotion for Vanilla Ice.
It is
like,
absolutely.
It's a void.
I don't have much to say about it other than what I've probably said before. It's something. It is funny. I honestly think this is a real, because it's short. I could be wrong, but it's 4 hours.
Yeah, it's like 90 minutes.
Yeah, I knew it was short. You could watch this with buddies, crack open a few and have a laugh. The laughs run out though. That's my biggest point. There is probably by 40 minutes in, probably once you've seen all the more
generous.
No, but you've seen everything, and you're still like, fuck. There's
like Patrick Stewart. You've seen everything.
You've seen everything. So yeah, it's. I kind of describe it as a feature length Saved by the Bell episode, but starring Vanilla Ice and with a soundtrack by Vanilla Ice and
musical guest Vanilla Ice.
There's some bits that stick out in my head. You see when it's the love interest on the horse and he's keeping up on his bike and he jumps over with his bike and knocks her over or scares her, and then he's like, "Oh, I'm sorry, like my bad. I'm going to sing about it now." It's got all the tropes you expect, the disapproving dad. Why is my teenage daughter being groomed by this definite insane man? Yeah, it's a product of its time. Wouldn't happen now, that's for sure.
Yeah.
It's 100% worse than Hudson Hawk. It's barely a film. It's a promotional thing, like you said. It's strange. It's promotional, not in the way of like Moonwalker or something though, which has so much more going for it. It is what it is.
Yeah, it's just utterly hollow. It's like someone in a boardroom was like, "Oh, hey, there's a lot of money to be made. That Vanilla Ice guy is popular. There's both money to be made off being him popular, and wouldn't a film make him more popular?" And just the idea never went beyond that. It was just like some boomer boardroom executive had the idea of a Vanilla Ice movie, cut to the film somehow opening in theaters.
But it probably was.
They forgot to put content into it.
It probably was, and you could probably correct me here, but I'm sure it's a marketing technique.
Yeah. Where
it's like, okay, let's do 15 million, 20 million, let's say. Let's be really generous and say 15 million, even if it makes
down.
Okay. Well, how much did it cost to make?
Down from 15.
10?
Down from 10.
5?
6.
6? 6 million.
6 million.
Okay, perfect. This actually reinforces my theory then. 6 million is fuck all in terms of Hollywood's mega record labels.
You can find that down the back of the couch,
How much did it make? I assume
it made less than that.
It made a mil?
It made 1.2 million.
Well, okay. Perfect. That's a success because it doesn't matter how much how much this makes, as long as people see it in video stores. They see the poster. It raises the Ice Cool brand.
They buy the SNES game.
Yes. We can market it. We can stick out. We can give it away for free at concerts. It is just adverts cost less than 6 million sometimes. Your Pepsi marketing's cost triple that. So
you're right.
This is nothing. This is just get out there. It's cynical. It's very cynical.
Yeah. And of course, as friend of the show Darren Doan said, this was shot by famed cinematographer Janusz Kaminski, who would go on to become Spielberg's go-to collaborator. So Spielberg perhaps saw Cool as Ice and was like, get me. Picked up the phone. Made a call.
Jan de Bont could have got a payday here,
I like to think that he very nearly offered the role of Oscar Schindler to Vanilla Ice, but then just decided, like, no. Vanilla Ice was like, I'm busy. So, worst actor. Bruce Willis in Hudson Hawk as Eddie Hudson Hawk Hawkins.
No.
Covered that in the first half. both of us big fans of this performance, and he absolutely does not deserve to be in such undistinguished company as our next nominee, Vanilla Ice in Cool as Ice.
I thought you were going to say
Johnny
fucking
Van Owen.
Sly or something there to piss me off. Yeah, no, 100%. Vanilla Ice is not an actor. Like,
he's not an actor. He's not playing a character. He's not a human being.
He's not trying.
It's so awkward. Yeah. It's very awkward.
Ice should have won. Ice should have won.
Yeah, he's the winner. That said, Ice does not deserve to be in such undistinguished company as our next nominee, Sylvester Stallone in Oscar, as Angelo Snaps Provolone.
If only you turned them round. Yeah, we'll cover this on our special, and we're not going to linger on Oscar. But I don't want him here. Sly gets a nom this year, but Frank doesn't. So, tensions in the Stallone household. Yeah. Moving on.
Yeah, we will cover Oscar in the near future. So we're skating on to our next nominee, which we have nothing to say about. Andrew Dice Clay as himself in Dice Rules.
Yeah.
So yeah, all I can really do is echo what I've said. People were really surprised that Woody gets a tune out of him in Blue Jasmine, because I think most people are just like a likable individual who's not very good at things apart from doing his kind of like hack, like women be shopping, folks routine. So yeah, I can see that. It's just it's odd. Like I wanted to watch Dice Rules just to sort of like figure out how much of a film it is, because when you're opening Pandora's box to concert films, like he does that with like Jonas Brothers and Bieber and stuff, but like there's so many of these out every year that it's weird that like this is the first comedian that we've seen nominated for a stand-up film.
Yep, 100%.
So
I don't want them here though. Ineligible for me.
Yeah, you've kind of spoken about people playing themselves and like doc footage and whatever. But we have our winner, Kevin Costner in Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves as Robin Hood.
Oh, it's Costner time. I didn't know Costner was coming up in this episode. Well,
everything I do it for you.
We obviously you could listen to our podcast episode on the Postman for our Costner thoughts.
Yeah.
Quite extensively. Right, so we've both seen this film.
We both seen this film. Did you watch it in RE?
Of course I did. Did
Mr. McKenzie ever teach a class? Of course not.
Oh, there goes one listener. Yeah, right. So I don't love this film as much as other people. I don't like Costner in it. It's controversial. I'm sorry, friend of the show, but I think it's such a weird miscasting. I think it's the Russell Crowe problem. It's a weird when Robin Hood's miscast. It's like your fucking biggest thing in the world. Yeah, I do like the film. I do like the film. I do. It's not my favorite. Men in Tights is too close, and that entirely ruined it for me. And the Disney one's my favorite adaptation of the tale. So
absolutely,
absolutely, gotta pay your taxes. This is I don't think he deserves to win it. It's a shambles. He's above Vanilla. It's miscasting. It's the problem. Yeah, it could put Richard E. Grant in there, swap them out. I'm happy.
Or some wife swap project, Bruno as Robin Hood and Kevin Costner as Hudson Hawk. That would be a disaster.
I was going to say, that's the Simpsons thing. You've taken two perfectly good jackets and ruined them both.
I just want to see Die Hard Robin Hood where he's crawling through a shaft. They said come out to Nottingham, have a few laughs. Now I have a bow and arrow. Ho, ho, ho.
I'd watch it.
So, just to echo your thoughts, really, don't like Kevin Costner. I think he's a bit boring. He's like boring but competent in everything, I would kind of say. And like, I don't think he's like you said, he's miscast rather than bad, and like the film's good enough that like he doesn't drag the film down. It's kind of an enjoyable like Braveheart-esque romp, fun piece of cheese. So nominee maybe, but to give him the award when you've got Vanilla Ice and Andrew Dice Clay and Sylvester Stallone, it just seems like no, not deserved in my book.
100%.
But moving on, worst actress, we have Razzie favourite Demi Moore in The Butcher's Wife, and Nothing But Trouble as Marina Lemke and Diane Lightson.
So
Have you seen The Butcher's
I
Wife?
haven't. I'm gonna say she's absolutely inoffensive in Nothing But
Yeah.
Trouble. You can't do any wrong when you got Dan Aykroyd chewing through your film in your face. Yeah, I assume it's going to be for the first film, The Butcher's Girl, and he's doubling down here. So yeah, I've not seen The Butcher's Girl though. I'm not going to see any of these worst actress ones. We've been through this before.
I don't know. It might be like him just doing his bullshit where she might not deserve it for any. Like, she might deliver a completely inoffensive performance and he's like two completely
Yeah.
inoffensive performances and he's just like seeing red still from Indecent Proposal.
Yeah.
Synopsis for The Butcher's Wife. The film concerns a clairvoyant woman who thinks that she's met her future husband, whom she has seen in her dreams and who is a butcher in New York City. They marry and move to the city where powers tend to influence everyone she meets while working in the shop. Through her advice, she helps others and eventually finds the true man of her dreams in a psychiatrist. I feel like that might be the entire film.
I think you've just. See how quick our episode would have been on fucking The Butcher's Wife. Roll credit. Yeah, that does sound bad though. That does sound pretty fucking stupid. So yeah, I'm not going to
Did
quote.
I say Jeff Daniels is
Yeah, of course he is.
Psychiatrist?
Yeah, of course he is.
Yeah.
He's the ghost.
Weird couple.
Yeah, of course.
I just see him as Harry and or Lloyd. I'm just imagining Demi Moore with he's not Lloyd Christmas, he must be Harry, whatever he's called. Then our next nominee, Madonna as herself in Madonna, Truth or Dare.
So you watched this, or you spoke about this?
I watched this just because Stallone is the most Razzie-nominated actor in Razzie history, and Madonna, I believe, is the most Razzie-nominated actress. So if at any point we're tackling her for a future special, I don't want to be stuck watching a Madonna tour documentary. So I was like, I'll get this over and done with now. So one performance crossed off. And also I was curious. I was like, I need to know if she's genuinely bad or if Mr. Razzie is just doing his like seeing red thing. And she's fine. She's good. Like it's interesting in that like the documentary isn't like entirely sympathetic to, like it's a very like honest portrayal. Like it shows you her meeting like Antonio Banderas, and she's like, oh, like I've always wanted to meet him, like I love him in Pedro Almodovar films, and she meets him at like some dinner and is like flirting with him, and then she's like, oh, there's his wife, fuck him. You Spanish guy, are you married? Antonio, fuck off. You're gonna sit here now. And so like it's interesting just that like she's kind of just like a child.
Yeah.
She's just sort of like really impulsive and like I don't know.
Okay.
So like it's an interesting character study, and she's not bad. Like she's fine. She definitely doesn't deserve to be. The only way you would think she's bad is if you are a misogynist who just hates Madonna.
Oh, well, I know just the one for you.
The only thing I would say is it's kind of notable for her doing her English accent.
Okay.
Like, I thought that was a later years affectation. Like, I thought it was when she was married to Guy Ritchie that she did the, like... But she does, like, an English accent on stage. And there's some mildly interesting stuff about, like, her dad seeing her perform and, like, Toronto being, like... It's like Elvis. Like, in Elvis, they're like, those police officers are gonna shut me down if I move my hips. So is this all right if I move like this? Madonna has like the Toronto cops are like, we're gonna shut you down if you touch yourself.
Okay.
And she's like, hey, I'm gonna do it. I'm not gonna be censored. So that there's that kind of like dramatic moment which was interesting to watch unfold. But yeah, no, not deserved. Then, moving on, we have Sally Field in Not Without My Daughter as Betty Mahmoodi.
I've never heard of it. I have no comment.
The poster looks atrocious. The poster looks like it's been photoshopped by by an artist who otherwise specializes in Mills and Boon covers. Like, it almost looks like a Pia Zadora poster.
Ooh, I'm up
like
for
it
that.
looks 10 years earlier than it should be. Not Without My Daughter, based on the book of the same name, depicting the escape of American citizen Betty Mahmoodi and her daughter from her abusive husband in Iran.
Sounds delightful.
And yet Mr. Razzie's just going after the lead actress once
Again, we've
again
gone
because
through
he's
this.
padding
Yeah,
things out.
100%.
Then we have Kim Basinger in The Marrying Man as Vicky Anderson. Have you seen The Marrying
I have
Man?
not. Again, I have not. No. Yeah, I have no comment. I don't. I don't. I think I've spoke about Basinger before on here. Have I?
Yeah, we've touched on her, yeah.
Yeah. So I'm not our biggest fan. She's not my favorite Bond girl. She's not my favorite Batman girl. I
Yeah,
don't like
she's
her.
not my favorite Simpsons guest
Yeah,
star.
she's
Um,
she's not for me. So but I still got no comment. It could have been a great performance for all I know.
So you may know it as Too Hot to Handle, which was released in the UK under, and it was a rom-com starring Alec Baldwin.
Yeah. Well, there's another reason why
But
I've not seen it. Yeah. Together at last.
and then that leaves us with the winner, Sean Young as the twin who survives in A Kiss Before Dying as Ellen Carlson.
So
Have you seen A Kiss Before
I
Dying?
have not. Have you?
I have not
Oh.
either. So yeah, romantic thriller. I'm gonna insert the word erotic there
Of course
when
it
I
is.
see
Yeah.
the poster. When I see the poster brandishing
It's a
from the creator of Fatal Attraction.
Yes. I mean, there's a fine line between romantic thriller and we're going straight into erotic territory. We always are. It's a Razzies. We can't escape it. Glad it didn't
Yeah.
win. Glad it didn't win.
Yeah, poster is her. Everyone's dressed in black,
Yeah,
so
I can
you,
see
you
it.
kind
I
of
can
just
see
see
it.
skin
I
fading
can
into
see
black, deep V-neck.
I-
Matt Dillon's got his hand on her neck.
I see many
Touch-
hands is what I was imagining. You know, like everyone wanted a piece of her, maybe just a kiss before dying or something. You know, on the tagline. Everything. I can see it.
Loving him was easy, trusting him was dead.
Dude. There you go.
So, worst supporting actor, we then have John Travolta in Shout as Jack Cabe. Have you seen Shout?
I have not seen Shout. Have you seen Shout?
No, I was tempted to watch Shout for this American musical romance film starring John Travolta as a musical teacher who introduces rock and roll to a West Texas home for boys in 1955.
Ooh.
And other notable names including Heather Graham and Gwyneth Paltrow. So I was like, it's School of Rock meets Footloose, but
Take my
from
money.
the sounds of it, he's the lead.
Ooh.
So why is he in supporting actor?
Taking my money back. Want a refund? Because Mr. Raji hasn't seen it. It's always the answer. Travolta's just is this a
He's like, I have to drop Andrew Dice Clay.
yeah?
I'm like,
It's an honorary nom, which again makes me so surprised that Frankie Stallone's not here because that would have been what I would have thought just with his stupid head. But yeah, okay, no comment. It's also 91 Travolta, so I get it.
Well, we then have Christian Slater in Mobsters and Robin Hood as Lucky Luciano and Will Scarlet, respectively.
I knew.
Have you seen Mobsters?
I have seen Mobsters.
Yeah.
I can tell you I have because this is what year is this? 91. Mobsters is the gangster version of Young Guns, also starring. I can't remember if it's exactly is tonal like it. But it's Chris. Yeah. I'm thinking of it because Christian Slater's obviously in Young Guns 2, and he's in this one, which I'm thinking are close timeline wise. Maybe Young Guns 2's a year after, but the poster looks identical. And I rented it or bought this on video because I love Young Guns, and it's one of my favorite little cheese films, guilty pleasures. And I wanted Mobsters to be that. That's a fun thing, you know. Instead of outlaws, it's gangsters. You know, I'm up for that. Like, yeah. It is not. It is not as good. It's a great cast.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's trying to ride the Young Guns fame. Yeah. I can't remember how bad Slater is in it. He is annoying as fucking Robin Hood though, so I'm gonna allow him to be here.
Yeah. Mobsters is interesting. Lara Flynn Boyle, F. Murray Abraham, Patrick Dempsey. Wow. Yeah, no, I haven't seen Mobsters, but I haven't seen Robin Hood since I knew who Christian Slater was. Okay. So he probably just fades into the background. I don't really like Christian Slater a huge amount.
I mean, I'm indifferent for a lot of times. I think I spoke about it before in the Alone in the Dark or whatever. I love Young Guns too. I love his cameo in Star Trek. I love bits and pieces throughout the years of him. I don't know if I'm a Slaterite, Slaterholic. There's some rough stuff with him. I think I've seen more bad than good. But
I think he can probably be used well in smaller roles.
I liked him in Mr. Robot.
Like
I did like him in Mr. Robot, so there's that.
Next up, we have Anthony Quinn in Mobsters as Don Giuseppe Mazzeria.
See below. Exact same comment.
Then we have Richard E. Grant in Hudson Hawk as Darwin Mayflower,
No.
who we've covered in the first half. And so that leaves us with our winner, Dan Aykroyd in Nothing But Trouble as Shire Alvin Valkenheiser / Bobo.
Yeah, yep. I covered it before. It's weird. It's not funny. And Dan Aykroyd, you expect to be funny when he's not being funny and he's being grotesque and weird. It's off-putting. Yeah, it's such a big fumble. Again, yeah, it's interesting. Everyone's going to be interested in it now in hindsight. Like, it's worth a watch because it's, again, a unique thing and all this shit. But Aykroyd, this is so poor Aykroyd. Again, no one's funny in it. You've got these, I know they're not heavyweights in 91, apart from literally, but like it's such a fucking misuse and yeah, no, okay. I'm not going to argue this. I'm not going to argue this at all.
We're supporting actress. We have Marissa Tomei in Oscar as Lisa Provolone.
So I'll get back to you on our Stallone special, I'm afraid. I like Marissa, though.
Yeah, I don't know what the worst thing I've seen her in. I kind of feel like she's probably one of those people who just can't really be that bad.
Yeah,
like,
I mean, she's in bad things. She's in some of my favorite films. So, like, when's... Hold on.
I was like, this must be very close to her winning the Oscar for My Cousin
Vinny. It's just what to say. When's My Cousin?
I want to say is 93,
92. A year after.
Okay, yeah.
That's just what I was going to say. When's My Cousin Vinny?
Yeah.
Yeah, she's still 17, 18 years away from the rest there. So, I love her. I'm looking forward to Oscar. So...
Next up, just going to strap myself in here for this one, Julia Roberts in Hook as Tinkerbell.
What the fuck? Didn't expect Hook to be here in any shape or form. Unless it was going to be like David Crosby, worst supporting actor or some bullshit. Julia Roberts is excellent in Hook. I don't know what this is about.
Yeah. So, like, spoilers, this is the only time Hook comes up, which, like, as we've spoken about perhaps on or off mic, I love Hook. I think Hook, one of my favorite films that, like, to begin with, I would kind of be like guilty pleasure. Like, I'm used to people shitting on me for liking Hook, and now I'm doubling down on it where I'm like, no, this isn't, to the extent that guilty pleasures exist, this isn't one. This is
great.
A masterpiece. Yeah. Spielberg's best film. And so defensive, like, it's one of those things where I feel like everyone who saw Hook as a kid likes it, and everyone who saw it as an adult does not. So I was prepared for this to show up more, but thankfully it's only the nomination for Julia Roberts. And, like, I can see why, in that she kind of sticks out. Like, it's almost like she's like, it's kind of weird that she's in it, in that it's like a mega star in like a really small part, no pun intended. And that kind of like sexual tension they add between Tinkerbell and Peter, I can maybe see like that troubling some audiences, but like, yeah, I don't think she's bad, certainly.
I like her. I really like her in Hook. I love Hook as well. I like her performance. Yeah, no, not a million years for me.
And then we have John Candy in drag in Nothing But Trouble as Eldonna.
That's just, fuck's sake. Yeah, we spoke about this before. It's just, you can't even name 5 supporting actresses, can he?
He's like the Billy Eichner on the street, like, name 5 women. John Candy.
Candy, like I said, it's not a funny film, unfortunately. Candy is always going to be physically entertaining. But it's not good. It's not Candy's fault. It's Dan's. That's why I'm not arguing Dan's. He fucking wrote it and directed it. It's his mess. Yeah, no. This is just filling hole. I'm not even going to give this the time of day. No.
Yeah, Sandra Bernhardt in Hudson Hawk as Minerva Mayflower, covered that.
Nope.
And so that leaves us with the winner, Sean Young as a twin who's murdered in a kiss before dying as Dorothy Carlson.
Fucking hell, he has it out for Sean Young this year, doesn't he?
Yeah, she's like flies under the radar, and I think she's either already a Razzie winner or will go on to become a Razzie winner. Like, I'm sure she's won at least one award prior to this.
Okay.
But we've only really seen her in Blade Runner, both of us, haven't we?
June?
So, oh yeah, of course. Yeah, you've got slightly more experience than me, but like
Blade Runner and June's what I think of, and that there's early 80s, both of them.
Yeah.
I don't think of 1991 Sean Young.
Ace Ventura, I guess.
When's that?
But 1994.
Okay.
But I don't have a huge amount of. I've only seen her in Blade Runner and Blade Runner 2049, both of which she is good in.
Yeah.
So I don't know where the floor is for Sean Young.
Okay. Post June.
So yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, I don't know. I don't really have a comment though. I just think it's weird that you're getting actress and support, and that's the first time that's popped up.
Yeah.
He didn't do that to like anyone else that we've seen dual roles, so
yeah,
it's weird.
This strikes me as like Mr. Razzie doing bullshit, wanting to grab like headlines, because like I imagine this will probably be a very short role. But moving on, worst director, we have father of Max, John Landis.
Best known as father of Max.
Best known for producing Max Landis, yes. John Landis.
Post-incident John Landis. I will talk about this more and how his direction of Stallone is. Yeah. We've spoke about Landis. We're going to continue to speak about Landis.
Big fans of everything that John and indeed Max Landis have ever done. Pro Landis podcast over here. I think of Star Wars as the old Bright, personally. Bright of the 70s. That's what I say. Then we have David Kellogg, who is not even blue on Wikipedia, for Cool as Ice.
Yeah, it sounds like a pseudonym then, or a gun for it.
Or a career destroyer.
No, this is a marketing. Get someone.
You're a patsy. It's some intern.
Exactly. Someone made it, but they say, I'm not putting my fucking name on there. Give me my 4 million or whatever my cut is. And
this isn't like a DGA project,
look around the room,
so we can just use
what's his name? David.
So we can use like a bunch of non-union crew.
Yeah, well that's it. It's that. Yeah, look around the room, eating your cornflakes. Boom, David Kellogg. Get his name on
it. Yeah. So David Kellogg, if that is your real name. David Kellogg, if that is his real name, terrible. Cool as Ice is an abomination. He is certainly a worthy winner.
It is.
And next, This Is My Design, William A. Graham for Return to the Blue Lagoon. So neither of us have seen Return to the Blue Lagoon, so we can't really speak about Will Graham and what he has done.
I've never heard the name.
Yeah, prolific TV director, Kraft Television Theatre, Omnibus, Naked City, Breaking Point, The FBI, Batman, and The X-Files.
Oh,
you directed Adam West's Batman.
Okay. You got me now.
And he directed Elvis's final film.
Ooh.
He directed films such as Honky and Where the Lilies Bloom. So, yeah, okay, there you go. That's Will Graham.
That's Will Graham.
And then we have Dan Aykroyd for Nothing But Trouble.
Yep, I've said it before. I honestly, it's winning all these awards. This is my evidence. It should be here, and I don't hate it. But like, if you were in 1991, again, putting yourself in the time, yeah, this kind of Cool as Ice is obviously the winner, really.
Yeah.
But Nothing But Trouble, in terms of the damage it does as well, is worse than Hudson Hawk, 100%.
Yeah, it sounds like you're kind of like you have two good choices of you want like incompetent. You go for Cool as Ice. You want like incomprehensible, sort of wild. You go Nothing But Trouble.
100%.
And you certainly don't go Michael Lehman, who was the winner. So moving on to worst screenplay, we have Return to the Blue Lagoon, screenplay by Leslie Stevens, based on the novel The Garden of God by Henry DeVere Stackpool.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing to say there.
Nothing to say.
Nothing to say, but Nothing But Trouble. Screenplay by Dan Aykroyd, story by Peter Aykroyd.
Yeah. This is the real winner, 100%. Like I say, I understand Hudson Hawk gets nominated or wins, but this is the real winner.
Do you have any knowledge of? Oh, Peter Aykroyd was on
SNL. Yeah, he is. He's on the non-Lauren seasons, like a season 11 or 12. Yeah. Dick Ebersol's reign. I'm getting too into it. Peter doesn't look like, so like Jim Belushi looks like John.
Yeah.
Peter doesn't look like Dan as much. It'll throw you right off. It's when I was just looking. Yeah. The B team comes in the 80s. Get Jim Belushi and Peter Aykroyd. There's my Blues Brothers. That's
And then we have Dice Rules, concert material written by Andrew Dice Clay, A Day in the Life written by Len Shulman, story by Clay. Neither of us have seen it, so not much to say. kind of again, it's just highlighting how weird it is to nominate this film so
Mm-hmm.
heavily. The fact that it's like two separate things, but we understand we're not coming out swinging for Andrew Dice
No,
Clay
no,
here.
no, no.
And then we have Cool of Ice, written by David Sten, who like
Is he a real
I don't
human?
know.
Is he got? Can you click on him?
He's black.
Oh,
Well, he's not black. He's black on Wikipedia. Ethnicity unknown, but he's not clickable. He's not hyperlinked on Wikipedia.
he'd recover.
But I mean, yeah, I'm just like I'm trying to think Sten. What Sten could have been? David's 10. Have you heard? It's my son's birthday today. How old is he? David's 10. And they're like, of course. So yeah, no, dreadful, worthy winner, but it did not in fact win, because that award of course went to Hudson Hawk, screenplay by Stephen E. DeSouza and Daniel Waters, story by Bruce Willis and Robert Kraft. All of those names blew on Wikipedia apart from Bobby Kraft Services. And so yeah, nothing to say,
No,
really.
covered it.
Completely undeserved. Which brings us on to worst new star.
Ooh.
The what was his name again? The Spencer Breslin
Yeah.
Award for worst child actor. So first up, we have Kristen Minter in Cool as Ice as Kathy Winslow.
That's the girl,
she
isn't
is
it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So she was probably if she was a child, she would have been late teen, kind of possible.
I don't know her in anything else. I don't think. I'm not going to look her up
Yeah.
because I don't recognize her. She's bad, isn't she? But like, I don't really have a comment. It's that she like I say, it feels like she's like in Saved by the Bell or 90215 or whatever. Because that's kind of what it is.
Yeah, she's like bad, but like blandly so.
Yeah.
In like, I'm not gonna argue against her nomination on the basis of her being a child, but on the basis of talent, like it's not great to single her out, because she's kind of just like, she's as good as you can possibly be in Cool as Ice. So I will just read out for you here. From IMDb, Lisa Marie Presley, Winona Ryder, Jennifer Connelly, Drew Barrymore, Shannon Doherty, Julia Roberts, Jennifer Aniston, Sarah Jessica Parker, Uma Thurman, Martha Plimpton, Nicole Kidman, NM0001073, Bridget Fonda, Jenny Garth, and Tori Spelling all turned down the role of Kathy. Gwyneth Paltrow almost took the role until her father advised her against it.
Ooh, fucking hell, that's all.
Wanted role in Hollywood.
I mean, surely not though. Surely this is just like, like not an urban myth, but like again, advertising. Like this is
Like
we could we could approach these people to star in something. Doesn't mean it's ever going to be real.
Exactly, like the who's who of Hollywood, with like Julia Roberts was in Hook, as we've established. Like, you don't go from like relatively like up and comers to like in some cases like actual names, and in the case of MM001073, perhaps a robot actor, you don't go from that to like some no name like that. Just like you said, screams of either just bullshit on IMDb or someone trying to drum up publicity, but being like, did you know that Meryl Streep was in consideration for this? Next up, we have Brian Krause in Return to the Blue Lagoon as Richard. Oh, shit. Looking at Brian Krause, I immediately recognized him. He is known for his role as Leo Wyatt on the WB television series Charmed.
Oh, okay. I never watched Charmed, so unless he's in
he was the orb guy on Charmed.
Unless he's in an episode of Star Trek, I'm not gonna have known him.
He's perfectly fine on Charmed. Can't speak of Return to the Blue Lagoon. But next up, we have Mila Jovovich in Return to the Blue Lagoon as Lily.
Yeah. So I've covered my opinions on her before. It doesn't kill her career. Doesn't even start it. So like again, I didn't even know she was around. She must have been young though as well. So fuck knows. Yeah. No, I don't know. No comment.
Then we have Brian Bosworth in Stone Cold as Joe Huff / John Stone.
I know of this film. I know it's I don't know if it's his one and done. I don't know how much he does after this. I think he's what is he? He's something. He's not an actor though.
Football.
I was going to say like I couldn't tell you, because this is like, we're going to get into the athletes try-in movies as we covered with like Dennis Rodman and stuff. So I think I was confusing Stone Cold there with another like Rodman Shaq like athlete, Steve McMichael or something.
The Juice.
Yeah, everyone's having a go. But I know of this film. I haven't seen it. I do want to see it now that it's come up here, though. Mr. Razzie hasn't seen it, though, because it's the only thing worse. He's not the worst actor or anything. No, he's just the worst new star. So, fucking bullshit.
Yeah, but I'm sure everyone can guess who worst new star is going to be. But I just want to take this brief moment to pat Mr. Razzie on the back. Credit where credit is due. Let none of us say that we are a podcast without mercy. Let no one say. Because we've established without Mila Jovovich, Kristen Minter maybe being like 17 possibly, these all seem to be adults. Like New Star, he's a footballer. It's that kind of crossover thing we're always harping on about, is he's not picking a child who's never done this before. He's picking either grown adults or people who are existing stars who are trying to cross over into another field, which brings us on to our worthy winner, Vanilla Ice in Cool as Ice as Johnny Van Owen.
100%. Yep, 100%. I know it's a crossover, I know, and I'm sort of saying, but he is so bad.
Yeah.
100%.
He was robbed of worst actor, but he's quite rightly taken home Razzie for worst new star, because it's just like, it's perplexing. If you watch this and you're like, hang on, we're being sold this guy. What is it that he does? Why are we supposed to like this person? So yeah, that brings us to an end. But for Kyle's favorite category, worst original song.
So I had a blast here. So thank fuck it's 91. So you sent me these. I've listened to these. I don't know who wins. So quickly hold on. I've got them. You sent me them here. Right. So I have Iggy Pop.
Yeah.
From Freddy's Dead, The Final Nightmare. I have seen Freddy's Dead. Of course I have.
Yep.
It's not my favorite. It's fucking pretty tired, but I haven't seen it in a long time, so maybe I'm wrong. I don't remember this song.
Freddy's not dead. He's just getting very old.
He's getting very old.
Using that.
And speaking of getting old and needing a nap, Iggy Pop I'm a big Iggy Pop fan. It's I always like one or the other. David Bowie never got into Iggy Pop. Fuck yeah, like give me pop, give me the Stooges, give me the weird stuff in the 80s. What did you think of this song?
I thought it was fine. It was unremarkable.
I like it. I just want to say I like it. It's a fucking terrible title. Why was?
Yeah, we haven't actually said.
The title is Why I Was Born. (Parentheses Freddy's Dead). Which I smiled at.
That doesn't answer that question. I've listened to the song and we're no closer to knowing why was Freddie born.
So I'm going to take a guess. Yeah, I said I like this. I actually really like this, and it's 91 Iggy Pop, so I was always going to be a bit strange. Yeah. I'm going to guess this didn't win.
Yeah.
Okay, good. All right, moving on. I like it. Let's move on.
Then we have Cool as Ice from Cool as Ice, written by Vanilla Ice, Gayle King, and Princess.
That means shit. Fuck. Right, so
I'm sorry to do this to you.
Yeah, because that means the other one won.
Yeah.
So I was going to say this one.
Yeah.
I know.
This is the worst song.
This is the worst.
This is absolutely
song. Objectively, this is the worst song. This is shit. This is so. Yeah.
And it's so it's full. Like you could fill this category with worst Vanilla Ice numbers from.
And that's a funny little category. I'd smile behind. Fuck's sake. Right. Yeah. This is the worst song, but it's going to move me swiftly on to the final song,
which is Adam's Groove from the Addams Family, written by MC Hammer and Felton C. Pilot II.
So, technically, the film doesn't get the award, which makes me so happy. Yeah. Technically, it's an MC Hammer, but the Addams Family won a Razzie, and that pisses me off now.
It's won too. Because Addams Family won't beat Coneheads.
Yeah, but that was
which you were
values though.
Addams Family values.
Yeah. I don't. So I was already annoyed at that. That's what I'm saying. I don't.
Yeah, because I was gonna say, I remember you being so irate at that being Coneheads. It's done it again.
I don't want them to be it. With these fucking. Would MC Hammer leave it alone? I prefer.
Hammer, don't hurt him.
I prefer Whoop. There it is. For the record, I think it's a much catchier song.
Yeah.
But this is fine.
Yeah.
A fucking perfect song to play over the credits of your weird, morbid, zany comedy. It's 91. It's not a good song though. I'm not going to defend it. I'm not listening to it. I don't like MC Hammer, but it is better than Cool as Ice by a mile.
Yeah, it's. I agree with you. The Iggy Pop's my favorite.
Yeah,
Iggy Pop's the only one that I'm like could see myself listening to. Whereas it's kind of you're good, you're bad, and you're ugly almost. Of Iggy Pop good, Addams Family not my thing.
No.
and then Vanilla Ice just like bad. So yeah, Mr. Razzie has blown it. And the
Yes.
notable thing about MC Hammer's song is it ends with a little spoken word outro. Um, which might drop in here.
Yeah, please do.
Speaking and thinking about the Addams family. They don't hurt anyone. They just like to have fun.
So that brings 1991 to a close. We do, however, have the stinkers at this point in time. So they broke from the Razzies this year, and they gave their award to Nothing But Trouble.
Okay.
That was the Worst Picture winner.
Okay.
And the nominees for Worst Picture, the other nominees, Cool as Ice, Harley Davidson, and The Marlboro Man, which sounds like less of a cynical advertising attempt than Cool as Ice. Yeah. Hudson Hawk, so they fucked it.
Yeah.
And then we have Shakes the Clown, the Bobcat Goldthwait film.
Oh, you're the Bobcat man here.
Yeah, I am the Bobcat fan. I'm the Bobcat man. I'm the Goldman man.
I've not seen it. How is it?
It's good. I like it.
Okay.
Like it's Sandman's in it.
Oh, yeah.
Like
a young Sandman.
Yeah.
Okay.
An early bit part cameo for the Sandman. So no, my dad recommended Shakes the Clown to me, and I watched that, and yeah, shouldn't be here.
Fair.
But to burn through their dishonourable mentions, All I Want for Christmas, Another You, Career Opportunities, Curly Sue, The Dark Backward, Dice Rules, Doll Man, Drop Dead Fred, Ernest Scared Stupid, Ghoulies 3, Ghoulies Go to College, Hook, A Kiss Before Dying, Mannequin 2, On the Move, The Marrying Man, The Neverending Story 2, The Next Chapter, Oscar, Problem Child 2, Return to the Blue Lagoon, Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves, Rockadoodle, Stepping Out, Stone Cold, The Super, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2, The Secret of the
Oh, love The Secret of these. Okay, so they're not. There's some more worthy films here than should have been in the Razzies.
Yeah.
100%. Yeah, for fucking earnest films and stuff like that. Yeah, like Surprise Hook was here.
Yeah.
I keep forgetting it had such a negative reception.
Well, to quote Richard E. Grant on the Hook critics, they're idiots.
They are absolutely. But you know what? Like it's not that far away from. There's quite a concentrated effort this year in '91. Is the select ones that are popping up, and it's not as much of a spread as we've seen in other, especially in the '90s, where you can have like a much wider spread.
Well, listeners, thank you for joining us as we cross off another year on our quest to watch every Worst Picture winner, watch every worst film. If you have enjoyed the podcast, then please leave us feedback on your podcast listening platform of choice. You can follow us on social media where we are watching Worst. You can get in touch with us there, or via email where we are watchingworstfilms@gmail.com. So give us a shout if you have any opinions on any of these films or any of the films we have covered in the past, or indeed will cover in the future. And the future is where we are going.
We are.
Because we're going to be heading off next week to the turning point, the seminal year,
Showdown.
which has defined everything.
The timeline splits.
We're still
now,
living
yeah.
it. Yeah. We're hopping off with our friend Barry Allen, and we're going to 2016 with the winner, Hillary. What's it called? Fuck. We're going off Hillary's America.
It's her time. It's finally her time. Yeah, I'm dreading this, but I'm looking forward to watching it with you.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, it was always lurking in the background. It's always been this dark presence looming over us. So let's do it.
Yeah. I'm kind of dreading this because the My Pillow movie was bleak, but the My Pillow movie was also a pandemic production.
Yeah.
Whereas Dinesh D'Souza is able to get out into the world, he's able to film things. It's not just going to be like a man raving about machines for 2 hours.
100%.
So I think it might be a little bit more amusing. Also, just like the 2020 election was kind of dull.
Yes.
Whereas 2016,
Loads
we had
of
our
fun.
favourites. We had Jeb, we had Little Marco, Lion Ted.
It's going to be great. It's going to be a fun episode to talk about, even if it's not fun. I'm looking forward to it, guys.
Yeah. And 2016, the year, we were robbed of quite a lot by Mr. Razzie, like seeing red for Donald Trump, because there are a bunch of fun films to speak about in the second half.
I'll not look at the noms, but I'll look up as always what else came out that year and see what I can predict.
So we just have 2 hours of conservative propaganda to get through, and then we get to enjoy some fun films. So join us next week for that.
Thank you very much, guys. See you then.